I got a six pack, I got jacked, and nobody cared. This is me. I'm working out 3 to 4 hours a day, yet still feeling insecure around women and friends and just talking to people. And I was unclear about my life. I was miserable, lonely, and lost. Now, these days, I work out for 15 minutes a day, and yet I'm focused, I'm social, I'm productive, and I feel much more confident. So, how is it that my confidence went up when I made my workouts 95% shorter? I'm going to cover the fundamentals in this video, and we have to start by showing you the gap that I was facing. So here's a little bit of context about my story. Let's rewind a couple of years. I was miserable with my life. I was feeling insecure. I couldn't talk to people without choking up. And most of the time, I would just kind of avoid talking to people in the first place. And what I wanted was validation. I wanted compliments. I wanted to grow my platform. I wanted to be famous. And I definitely wanted to get girls. So there was a key to this. There was this magical solution because I saw that there was a way out. I could actually have a cool personality. I could impress people and talk about things that were impressive, and I could have some purpose in my life. I was confused about what to do with my life, and this would resolve that. And this key, friends, was the gym. This key solved all of it. You see, I saw all these amazing figures. I saw Arnold, and he was attractive, handsome, good looking. He had all of this charisma. So I really wanted this key. I'm only talking about how I personally took this to extremes so that you can save yourself at least 2 to 3 years of your time and really learn an important lesson about balance so that you get the most out of the work that you do in life. These are the main core lessons we will cover in this video, and I'll show you my own experience and pictures from my own story. The first point is that a lot of us think that to make progress, we have to have pain. But there's a lot to discuss there because there's a lot of limiting beliefs in that. The second thing I'll talk about is the most attractive thing in the world and how you can access it. And third, I'll talk about how you can play the long-term game instead of the short-term game. Let's first talk about pain and progress. To suffer without meaning is to be tortured, not transformed. And torture was something I was clearly interested in. Let's talk about discomfort. What is pain? What is discomfort? Well, there's mental discomfort. This is when you're using your brain to do math or learn a language, or you have this boredom and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so boring watching this long video. And then there's emotional discomfort where you have anxiety, fear of handling rejection and speaking to a lot of people. And then third, you have physical body discomfort. So tasting like horrendous protein shakes, listening to very loud and intense music, trying to bench press and squat hundreds of pounds. So I'm gonna ask you guys, which one of these do you think Jack was prioritizing? Well, it was the physical discomfort. You got it. Let's go. I was actually quite comfortable emotionally, quite comfortable mentally, but physically, I was torturing myself. The gym is important. It is a tool. It is a means to an end. It is part of the whole toolkit. It's just one tool in the whole toolbox. But if you're only focused on this particular tool, then it's like trying to build a house, but only focused on building the walls. It's not balanced. It's not holistic. You need doors, you need windows and floors. Think about the main areas of your life. There's health, wealth, relationships, for example. What are you unwilling to feel? You don't have to have an actual answer to that question, but that is the basis of how you can grow in that area. So with relationships, for me, for example, I was feeling physical discomfort, yes, in the gym, but I wasn't exploring emotional discomfort. I was avoiding emotional discomfort because social anxiety, I wasn't engaging with people, I wasn't confronting that discomfort. And that really held me back in wealth and in relationships. Yet it imbalanced me so that I was doing really well with health. So that's the question. You don't have to have an intellectual answer, but the idea is like, what are you unwilling to feel? so that you can balance out your life and improve in that area. And I'll touch on this more later so that you can expand in that area. For me, for example, like I was just saying, sending direct messages to new people, joining calls with strangers, and like posting content that was new to me and putting it in public, that was scary. And that was the uncomfortable stuff that I avoided. So even though I was doing a lot of discomfort with the gym, these were key aspects of my life that I was missing out on. Now, that's the main lesson with discomfort and how to make progress. Now, let's talk about the most attractive thing in the world, because I wasn't that focused on this. And I'll tell you, it is not your biceps, it is not your six pack, it is not your V taper. What the most attractive thing is in the world is how little you care to prove anything. Neediness repels, wholeness pulls. And actually, I was working really hard, but I felt like I had to prove myself. So I'll talk about that here. So I was working hard, I was spending time on proving myself, and I was not being myself. And people can feel that. People can feel this sort of neediness based on the friends they see you hanging out with. People can feel this when you enter rooms. And people can feel this before the words even leave your mouth. Because when you're there to prove, people can feel that. Now, sure, I was jacked. But what good did that do for me if I was trying to prove myself by comparing myself to friends, making content about me and not for sharing to other people? And if I was emotionally fragile, like a lot of my confidence for the day would simply depend on like the comments or words that other people would say to me. So I was really at the whim of other people and I wasn't in control of my life. Now, obviously, I'm still a work in progress with this. I am far from perfect. But the point is that not only was this draining trying to prove myself, but it didn't actually give me what I was trying to get. So I placed a lot of stress on my body to lift heavier and get these results. And I didn't care about the side effects of that. And this is what happens when playing the short term game. So let's talk about the side effects of this and how we can play the long term game instead. So, first of all, with food, I was trying to bulk up, right? Like I wanted to be more muscular. So I was having like multiple eggs and working to make huge meals. And I was doing this throughout the day multiple times. And what this did was it kept my mind foggy so that I could instead just have a better body. And now I actually do most of my work fasted. And I love to eat fruit. And music is definitely a big one because working out goes hand in hand with music a lot of the time. And for me, this involved listening overall to just fast paced music. Like in this screenshot, for example, this is called a sped up playlist. I could not listen to just normal paced songs. I had to have it sped up. And it was loud and intense. Now, I didn't do this all the time. I'm kind of just touching on some of the extremes that I reached here. And I was listening, obviously, more to hip hop. The point is, music was also a big role here and affected my level of being. And also, part of playing the short term game was like I was trying to push my body past a healthy capacity so that I could improve my physique. And this was physical overkill that led to stiffness, it led to tightness, and my range, like I was not flexible. And if I ever got a massage, it was like really painful. But I didn't care because I was trying to build muscle. And sure, I still gained benefits from this. I learned the importance of willpower. I learned how focus can increase the ROI. Like, if you are in a workout and you're focused, the muscles just grow more. I also started to see it's like sculpting. Consistency and focus showed me, like, what can happen with long term effort. So, yes, there are gym bro benefits. Um, but there's a new key. In this age of social media, content creation, and AI, there is a new key to holistic growth. And again, we talked about the gym phase, but this is a little different because leveraging this secret key helped me to break self-doubt, it helped me to build relationships, and it helped me to actually become useful. This is important because earlier we were talking about discomfort, right? So books, podcasts, videos, these types of things challenge our ideas. And then conversations, where we're interacting with people, poke at our emotions. Questions help us to contribute to conversations creatively. We reply with authentic responses and writing. But to have all of these ways of growth actually happen, there's one thing that is required. We can't do all of this without this one thing: people. This leads to the importance of community, because if you want intellectual, emotional, and physical expansion, it is actually impossible without a community. So think about what you might want to improve on the most right now. If you can find a community of people who are good at that thing, then you can actually improve with a holistic approach, because community helps you get a well-rounded expansion. Not just one tool in the toolbox, but emotional, intellectual, and physical expansion. So if you can find a community of people and meet up with them online and in person, you can supercharge your growth by engaging with them daily and leveraging that power of community. There is Skool, there's online meetup apps like meetup.com and Eventbrite. YouTubers host community. And I say this because the mistake that I had made was I was only focused on one area. But if we work with community, we learn about ourselves more, we see where we can really add value, and we can bring connection into our lives and into the process of what we want to build. Otherwise, we can end up experiencing like a much more narrow field of growth. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to leave any feedback in the comments. If you want to connect with me, the link to my community is in the description below. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.